There we go. I think we are live, and that's live on YouTube and Facebook this time. So we've given Twitter a miss this time because we had some problems last time, and from my point of view, Twitter's a bit of a pain to set up. So let's just stick with YouTube and Facebook because that's where all the best people are. Sorry, Twitter people. So we've got a couple bits of rats around the world to start with today. We're going to start with, and I don't know if anyone's actually seen this. This was something that I think was shared on our timeline. Can't remember where we first saw it now. So this was the ninja dropkick kangaroo rat. So someone might say this, might not. So let's explain. So this is a little mini rat, a little rat from North America, and they were very, very good at evading rattlesnakes. And the people who were basically studying these animals said, "Oh, we don't really know how they managed to evade them so well." So they set up some slow motion cameras, and boom, they got on camera footage of these kangaroo rats jumping and kicking in the face these snakes whenever they went to eat them. We've got some lovely pictures. Oh, worth me saying that we've got this lovely chat thing in the corner. Well, wrong side, up there. So if you're saying anything, it's going to pop up on there, which is great. As well as our lovely new little bar there. Let's flip over to my screen and we'll have a look at these ninja rats. So this is a nice article by Live Science, and they were talking about these ninja rats, or kangaroo rats. A lovely picture of one there. So that's a rather bitey looking snake, isn't it?
I'd jump too if that came at me.
Well, to be fair, yeah. Here's a lovely, say a slightly nicer picture. Give us a shout if you can hear us all okay. Just checking that the audio is all working fine. But so here's a lovely picture of one up close, or at least as high resolution as that can be. They look more like a mouse, don't they?
Well, you thought pouches had big feet, but look at those.
I mean, I instantly saw the picture and I thought that's a jerboa. But it's not a jerboa, is it? I don't think they're not. No, they're not. They're not the same thing. Kangaroo rats.
Kangaroo rat.
Jerboas are different. Jerboas are African, aren't they? So we found one of the slow motion videos that someone's lovingly created an account on YouTube just for this called Ninja Rat, which I think was quite. So I thought we could see as it jumps and bang!
Wow.
I mean, that is incredible, really.
Saved by those size 10s.
Oh yeah, and this wasn't, this wasn't something that just filmed on the off chance. It was something that was happening regularly every night, and they were also using that same kick on each other. So you can imagine when they get into a bit of a barney, it's
be worth buying tickets for, wouldn't it?
Yeah, a bit of a kick. But yeah, I would.
That's fantastic.
So I thought that was incredible. We've got something else that we were working on. So something that I think makes a YouTube stream is having a really good intro. And in proper style, obviously we want to run the intro during rather than at the very beginning. So let's roll our new intro. There we go. So that's our new intro. It took me all of around an hour to write over lunchtime, but I think that was pretty good. I love my little pixel art rats there. I think they turn out quite
very
well.
retro.
They're very well. I like the retro stuff. I'm a bit of a retro guy.
You're getting old.
I am getting old.
I'll have to look for a younger one now.
Well, yeah, you will. You won't find another one that likes pouches as much as me, though.
There is no way.
So
I'll give up now.
We've got some more rats around the world news. So this is the well. Did you want to do the Australian water rats? Because this was your thing.
Definitely, yeah. Featured on the Dodo this week were the Australian water rats. There's not very many in this country, but we are lucky enough to be close enough to London to visit London Zoo, and also we were lucky enough to see them swimming. I know that people have mixed views about the way animals are kept in zoos, but we were blown away by this enclosure. It was absolutely huge.
Oh, and London Zoo especially.
Yeah.
I mean, I know we've got some of the American guys watching, but if you ever find yourself in the UK, London Zoo is, there's some zoos are hit and miss, aren't they? But you tend to remember the ones that were really good, and London Zoo is good.
This particular enclosure really was, it was surprisingly good. It was an L shape and it took up a huge amount of space, and some of it was above water and some of it was below, and the glass tank went right down to the ground. And we were lucky enough to see them awake, because they're like a lot of rats, they diurn, or they'll be awake at dawn and dusk. And this was bang in the middle of the day.
There was two of them, wasn't there, out?
There were two, and they were swimming like otters. If you can get a chance to see a video of them, then great.
Do you know what? I can do even better than that. I have a video.
You've got a video.
I've got so let's flip back over to desktop view. So this is I thought this picture was quite fetching because it shows them, but they look awfully like pouches.
They do.
They do.
Without the ears.
Without the ears, they've got shorter
ears,
but and then I found other pictures, and obviously you both know in real life they actually don't look so much. This is another picture.
Yeah, they're black and tan. They're very much like
courtesy of abc.net.au, Australian news. And you can see that they've got the same. They've actually got hairier tails. But look at that. They've got the same white tip. And they're lovely. To me, they look like little Rottweilers. They
do. Or Dobermans. They've got that colouring.
But what a handsome face they've got. But they are so they eat a lot of aquatic. So they dive shellfish and lobsters and things. We've actually got a video of one diving. Let's have a look at this. I mean, brilliantly in the water. I mean, look at that.
The advantage with London Zoo is that they put in an artificial enclosure so that people can see them, and you can see them diving like otters under the water. We stood for about 45 minutes, and
we didn't want to leave. We were like, they might come out again.
Absolutely mesmerising if you get the time right. It's worth the admission fee alone just to see these animals. They're brilliant.
I mean, this is when I saw this video, I thought, this is some enthusiast. This isn't. This is a company for a Fallen Timber Furniture company, who was just basically saying what they found outside. Right. I mean, imagine working and having that swimming around. I mean, I'd be great. I'd be really
sandwiches at lunchtime, going, oh look, there's one.
I'd be really, really chuffed if we in London we don't seem to get it. I mean, look at it. It's like, yep. I'm just going to clean myself off. I mean, that is
very oily coats, like a lot of semi-aquatic animals.
Spectacular.
It's
animal.
Brilliant. And rats get a bad press anywhere they go. We know that from living in this country, but they've also got their uses. And the redeeming feature of the Australian water rat is that it eats cane toads.
Yeah, I did read that.
We saw cane toads, didn't we?
We saw cane toads in Costa Rica, which is
loads of them.
Where they're meant to be.
Yeah. And
like really noisy.
With any animal within arm's reach, zoo or in the wild or otherwise, I've got my hands out like that, and you're going, don't!
Well, it took me a second. I was like, oh, look at the size of that toad, and then I thought, toad, Costa Rica. It's a cane toad. Don't touch that.
Don't lick the toad.
While we're on the subject of things not to touch, what else did we see while we were away once that you had to be told not to touch?
Oh no, the honeymoon almost came to a really short end because we came across, what was it?
It was a European viper.
A European viper, little, reasonably small snake, and I touched it with my handbag, and it went right up and opened its mouth at me.
Well, we didn't know what it was, did we, until we spoke to someone? Well, I thought it was some sort of viper because of the way it reared up like that.
Yeah.
But then we were speaking to someone. Oh yeah, you don't want to touch them. They're one of the most poisonous snakes in Europe.
I could have died diddly-eyed.
Well, yeah, yeah. I mean, we here in the UK we don't have many poisonous snakes. I think with the adder's the only poisonous snake we have over here. And to be fair, if they bite you, you go to hospital, you get treated. It's not really a big deal. But that is it's like its bigger brother, isn't it? You don't.
Well, where we were as well was pretty remote, and it wouldn't have been good news. So don't touch the snakes.
Don't touch the
snakes. And don't lick the toad.
Don't, unless you want to have a good time. Lick the toads if you want a good time.
Yeah, the mescaline, isn't it? Something similar to mescaline that can make people hallucinate.
Yeah, you're thinking the poison dart frogs.
Oh.
We
saw those as well,
didn't we? We did see that. Yeah,
in Costa Rica.
This isn't about what we've seen when we're abroad.
I know, I digress.
We Carry on. So, what else we got today? So we've got a little bit about Bob. Did you want to talk about Bob and the recent goings on with Bobbly Bob?
Yeah. Like all animals, they're prone to getting ill. A few of you might know already from seeing photos and videos that Bob has a skin condition. It would cost about £1,000 to detect what this skin condition is. So we're starting conservatively and treating it as some sort of staph infection. And he's been on a course of Baytril. Really good results. We saw the fur growing back. But about 7-8 days in to the course, he started to get diarrhoea. And then you're in a bit of a quandary, because diarrhoea can obviously be quite dangerous for an animal that doesn't really drink a lot and won't willingly accept you offering drink to them. We'll stop the antibiotics. He's starting to clear up slowly. But a tip that we gave the vet when Arthur was ill, and something that was stumbled upon by chance, was the awful pink medicine. If any of you were unfortunate enough to remember the 70s, it's called Pepto-Bismol. It's in a pink bottle, and it's got bismuth in it. I did a lot of reading before we gave this to Arthur. I did a lot of reading on the internet. And within a couple of days of a little nip of Pepto-Bismol, Arthur really started to improve. So we're doing the same for Bob. What I do want to say is that Baytril, when it's administered correctly and when it's prescribed, really works. Arthur's Giardia started off with a urine infection, and within 48 hours he was better. Bob just got this as a side effect. What you can do to try and counteract it is give probiotics, and a German breeder friend of mine who bred Alice and Bob recommended a substance called Benebac gel. And so we've got some on hand now for if this happens again. Bob's had his first dose and he's going to have his second one tonight. And hopefully, fingers crossed, Bob, you'd be okay. Nothing like what Arthur was. It's just worth remembering, if you prescribe Baytril, and the vet will always prescribe these things for a good reason, have some probiotic handy. You can't buy Benebac in the shops here. Get it online and keep it in your store cupboard. It's worth it.
Well, yeah, it's that's twice now that we've needed it.
Yeah.
As well as when we were raising Sally, she needed it.
Well, yes, Sally was a case in point, that because she was hand reared, it was all artificial and nothing was quite right. We did a couple of changes of milk, and would definitely invest in the Benebac again when this one runs out. It's just a really good staple to have in your medicine cupboard.
Yeah, there's been a bit of a worry, hasn't it? But it seems to be helping clear up his little bald spots a little bit. So it's swings and roundabouts, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a tricky one.
Yeah, I've got to say that the bald spots that he's got are typical of the kind of alopecia that people get. The bald spots are symmetrical. They're on either side of his back. And we got a little bit alarmed because they started to spread round to under his arms, and he got a little dot of it on his head, which is why we took him back to the vet. There's always that quandary over whether, if it's not bothering the animal and it's purely cosmetic, should it bother us?
No, I mean, maybe I'm a bit less sentimental about hair for obvious reasons. I've never missed mine. So I mean, I was the one that kept saying, I think he's probably okay. If it's not bothering him and it's not showing any more symptoms, then we just need to take it as it comes. But, the fact that it's worked means that possibly there was something else going on, or it could just be a coincidence. It's hard to tell. But...
Yeah, it is. But again, it's a really valuable lesson learned, just to keep an eye on your animals and monitor them. If you see them every day and you pick them up every day, you get to know what they feel like. And when Bob got diarrhoea, there was only a dot in his cage at first, wasn't there? Not enough to notice. But we picked him up that night to get him out, and he was floppy. He just wasn't the same Bob. And, any parent of a human child would recognise what I'm saying. And we've got the ratties, haven't we?
Yeah.
They just feel different. So make sure you handle them every day.
Yeah. It's you pick up on these things, and you don't pick up on them if you don't. Especially if these guys, things can go wrong very, very quickly.
So on a lighter note, it's Friday night. We don't go out because we've got no money, because we spend it all on these animals. And we're looking for a film to watch, a rat-themed film, possibly. Yeah,
so it got us talking about rats in films. And we were trying to think back. There was a film we watched that had rats in it. And then we remembered, actually, There was a film we watched that had a pouch rat in it.
Kept calling it Ben. We kept calling the film Ben and looking all over for this film that doesn't exist.
There is a film called Ben. So there originally was a film called Ben from the 1970s. And this was about a guy who amassed an army of rats that went on a killing spree. It was a bit of a spoof horror, wasn't it? And then in 2000, they made a sequel to that called...
They did.
Or was it... No, Willard was the first one. And then they made the sequel, which was Ben.
Right.
So I wasn't going mad. It was a film called Ben. Followed by, in 2003, they remade Willard. And in this film, that's, Willard. Maggie's confirming for us, And
Thank you, Maggie. Thank you.
And the rat in there is a Gambian pouched rat. So if you've not seen the film, I've actually got... Let me flip over to...
Have you got a clip or anything?
I've got a clip, but I've got a lovely screenshot of Ben. I mean, look at that. He's a handsome devil, isn't he? Look at that handsome face. He's got lovely ears on him as well.
He looks like a frequent visitor to the food ball.
He does. He's got a bit of weight to him, hasn't he? But he looks very, very handsome. And there's another lovely... So that's a picture of him in the actual film. But so what I did try and do is desperately find... I wanted to find the name of him. I wanted to find what his name was.
What his real name?
His real name.
It might be Ben.
Well, no, I highly doubt it.
Oh.
But I was trying desperately to... I was trying desperately to find the actual name of him, or at least to find out where he came from, or some...
Do you know how we could find out?
How?
This is a really good idea. We can watch the credits.
I thought
Do you think he's
so I looked
credits?
up.
No, that's a disgrace.
No,
he doesn't even get a mention.
I imagine that there was a sort of a large-scale animal handler that was obviously... Because what I read about the trivia of the film, which was quite interesting in itself, was that they had over 100 rats that they used for the film. And not all of them were able to be trained at the same sort of level. So they colour-coded the bottom of their feet with ink, depending on how well they were at commands. So the ones that had a certain colour would do certain scenes, and others would do others and bits and pieces. So yeah, I mean, it sounded like quite a big undertaking.
So I wonder if Ben had an understudy then, just in case Ben got diarrhea or something like that.
I don't know.
Or Ben wasn't performing on the day, because we all know how stubborn and how temperamental they can be.
Yeah. I have to keep digging. So yeah, I've tried looking at various bits around the actual person who directed the film. Yeah, as Maggie's put. I just couldn't find him, but real handsome boy, and it's always nice to to have films with them in.
So if anybody can find out the name of the real Ben,
that's
then
the challenge.
Then let us know.
Challenge. So we've got, and before we get to the end, if there's any, like with last week, if there's any questions or anything, fire them up onto the chat, and we can go through them afterwards.
I've just noticed the fact that you've jotted down here about Willard. It is a really good film. And as usual, if I pick a film, how does it come up on Rotten Tomatoes?
Oh, generally bad.
Really bad. And this one didn't disappoint. It did make the number 10 spot on the worst pet films ever.
It's better than being number 1 spot.
Don't believe it.
No. But then we're biased.
We definitely are.
Biased.
And yeah, I mean, rats always seem to get the role of the bad guy, don't they?
Yeah. They always point. Well, I mean, this is where Ratatouille kind of made the big difference, didn't it? Because all of a sudden it was the hero, or sort of part of the hero was...
Rat breeders of the world had their head in their hands at this point, because everybody wanted a Russian blue rat.
It didn't do well, but then...
For their children. Like Nemo. Like Finding Nemo, everyone wanted a clownfish, and they're spiteful and horrible.
Well, this is another point, because my other passion in life, the other thing that I keep other than I keep saltwater fish, and I'm really into keeping fish that have been captive bred. I don't really agree with ones that have been wild caught, so I tend to always look for species that have been, and they tend to be a bit hardier if they've been captive bred as well, rather than wild caught. And that means so they've not really known a life in the wild. Clownfish are an example of ones that do readily breed in the wild, so no big problem. But Finding Dory came out, and they're not at all. They don't breed at all. They're all wild caught, and all of a sudden these people were like, "Oh, well, we want Dory, we want Dory, we want Dory."
So we'll see extinction, and
And
they've
blue
got
tangs,
to be
yeah.
they've got to be kept properly as well. They're
Yeah.
really, really complicated things to keep. I'm going to leave you to talk about your ultimate cage, and I'm going to go and get the guest of the week.
Guest of the week?
Yeah.
Who's guest of the week this week?
Have to wait and see.
Ah, okay. I'll leave you to get the guest of the week.
Yeah.
So we were talking about an ultimate cage. And what? It's a water pump.
Penis enlarger.
It's a water pump.
Penis enlarger.
It's a water pump. We were talking about our ultimate cage, and something that a lot of people have asked us, that we've seen in a lot of groups, a lot of questions around, is how big of a cage for a pouchy? And really hard to give a definitive answer, because owls don't really use their cage to its full size. They might climb up it occasionally, but most of the time they're out and they're not. So what would be my ultimate cage for a pouchy? Now, Claire doesn't agree with me with this, but I would love, I really like to over-engineer things, so I would have this perfectly well-made glass cage with inbuilt temperature control, and to keep the air fresh, you could have some fans that would circulate the air. And being that our guys all want to pee in water and poo in water, all pouchies, it would be really easy to have a toilet that actually cleaned itself, almost like a flushing toilet, something that flushed away into a bottle or something every couple of hours. I just, in my mind, have this vision of this high-tech cage that manages all this. So I'm curious, so for anyone who's watching that does keep rats, what would be your ultimate cage? What would be perfect for you? It's been a tricky one for us to define, really. Is it our guest of honour time?
Could be. I'm going to pass him to you.
Oh, we have Floki Doki. Hello, Floki. You going to say hello? This is our little lad. So he's with us now for another week before he goes off to his new home.
You see him?
Yeah, and he's an absolute delight, isn't he?
He is absolutely gorgeous. He's going to Annette Reynolds in Lancashire. He's 8 weeks old tomorrow, and he'll be 9 weeks old on the day that he leaves. Thoroughly enjoyed every minute of him, and unlike Sally, this little guy was reared by his mum, and you can see he's soppy tame.
He's not really fond of being picked up, though.
Doesn't like being picked up very much, but once he's on you, he's lovely, isn't you? Yeah. Hello.
He's very, very licky as well, which is nice. Hello, birdie. Hello, birdie.
So hopefully he's going to make a really nice companion for Annette, and I know he's going to get spot rotten. And
we are going to miss him, because he's slotted right in with our little pouchy family while he's been here. But this is what we want to keep doing. We want to, every rat that's born here should slot into our family and then go off to be an extended family.
Yeah, everyone is a really, really precious thing, whether it's one we're going to keep or whether it's one that's going to go to a loving home somewhere else. He looks just like his mummy. Look at
the ears.
Look at the ears. Can you see those ears? Oh, you're really wriggly. You're really wriggly. Yeah.
What's odd is, so we've been watching the way Sally is with him, because he's now old enough to come out, and we don't entirely trust him with the adults. They can potentially be a bit heavy-handed, can't they? But Sally's a bit more easygoing. But then Sally doesn't like the adults at all either. I think being hand-reared, she never really understood them.
Well, when she was little, we let her meet some fancy rats. She didn't like them. It's almost like she doesn't speak the same language. But Floki is different. And they've been playing together.
They
they've
frolic,
been
they
fantastic.
bounce around, and if anything, it's been good, because he watches her every move.
Yeah, and he runs after her like a little lamb.
And he's watching her run up to us and kiss us and lick our faces, and then he's wanting to do the same. So it's quite a good. I hope she stays that way. Well,
Sally is an excellent teacher for the little ones, so if they can watch the way that she interacts and copy that, they should make really nice pets, really good pets.
Well, I'm pleased that he's tame in the same way that Sally is.
Yeah.
But obviously wasn't hand-reared, so it proves that it can still be done.
So what is it then? Because Bob was always easy to handle when he was little. He thinks he's the main man now.
Yeah.
But Lolo is pretty much like this. If you pick her up, she'll sort of kick and wriggle and like, oh, I'm not too sure, put me down. So I don't know whether temperament is inherited. When we spoke to the people at Apopo, they didn't feel it was the case because they don't keep males for breeding. They to get diversity in the gene pool, they catch them.
Yeah, they breed with their
actually
females
they set up humane traps, catch a male, take him back, deflea him. They're apparently covered in fleas, and then they leave them with the female. And if they haven't performed by 2 months, they let them go and go back into the wild.
And that kind of works. I guess that if they get ones they can't train or for any reason are just difficult, then
let them go.
They can just let them go because that's where they're from.
Not that I've ever suggested letting one of these go. It wouldn't survive 2 minutes in our climate. So.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I'm loving. I don't think it's going to pick up on the camera, but he's got a lovely demarcation line where he's molting. You can sort of see it. You can just on the back there. He's still got a bit of his baby. They almost molt in 3 stages, don't they? So you get the initial baby fur is like it's like baby's hair, isn't it? It's like really fine and
very
downy,
fluffy. Yeah.
And then they start to get like slightly thicker version of the adult
of
the baby fur, but it's still not the full coat, is it?
What I've observed is that they have their baby fur, and then the baby fur drops out, and they're almost bald again, and then their adult coat comes through, which is really short and plush in a baby. It's beautiful.
You think he's sitting there boggling?
Yeah, he is.
Don't get him in the camera boggling. Yeah, little boggly eyes.
Oh, Floki.
You good boy.
Floki.
He's definitely more of a being held like this rather than picked up.
Doesn't like his feet dangling, but he's absolutely gorgeous.
He's going to go off and be a real handsome boy.
He will. He'd be beautiful. Not long now, Annette, if you're watching. It's exciting.
It is exciting knowing they're going to go off. But yeah, so, we're really pleased with how he's turned out. I think he's going to be a whopper as well. You're boggling away.
If he's anything like his mum, he will be. She's like a male rat. She's like a tank. She's huge.
Tell everyone can hear we've got a lovely little owl outside hooting away at the moment.
Yeah.
Which is quite nice. It's always a sign that the spring's coming.
Spring's coming.
We get a lot of nice wildlife here, and it's coming.
Don't forget to put your clocks forward tomorrow. Forward by an hour.
Is it tomorrow?
Tomorrow at 12 midnight. Yeah. Spring has sprung.
It has. It has indeed.
And we're hoping that spring might have sprung for Bob and Lolo again. Watch this space. Let's
have a quick scoop for the comments, and we'll see if there's anything that we can. God, there's a lot of comments. Right.
It's all from Maggie.
It's. Let's just get them up so we can see them.
Maggie and Doo-Wop 54. Somebody there.
That's Bob.
Rock and roll fan. Right.
Yeah, I think it probably is because Floki's been handled from the beginning. We were really insistent. Of course, yeah, it's already happened in the US because you get it a little bit earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Jealous. Then the weather's so unpredictable here in the UK anyway because it's either really, really hot, uncomfortably hot, or freezing cold. Or rains. There's no nice medium, is there? There's nothing in the middle. It can be an absolute. I mean, especially since global warming started kicking off. It seemed to really. He's going for a run. Good. It seems to get really, really hot and stuffy over here, doesn't it? I think we're approaching the point we're going to start investing in aircon for the pouchies.
Yeah.
And for us as well.
Well, we'll need to think about that. But for now, I think we're almost out of time.
I think we are almost out of time. Just checking if there's anything else that we can. Yeah, we'd be correct. Ben is a sequel to Willard. That was. Yeah, I can't have got that right. That's,
good.
That's very. A video of a kangaroo rat that was stuck in the wall. That'd be interesting.
Stuck in the wall?
Stuck in the wall.
Oh, if anyone's on the Facebook group or Twitter, do you think you could link that and we can have a look?
Well, yeah, we'll have to see if we can dig that out. I will share a video later on. So we recorded a video of... We get this really crazy... Well, I think we both do. This crazy greeting from Sally when we come home.
Oh, yeah.
It's like being greeted by a dog that hasn't seen you all day.
Lick.
So we recorded a video of literally from us standing outside the front door to coming in. I've got it on my phone. I'm going to upload it shortly after this. And yeah, let us know what you think because it's kind of sweet.
It's
isn't it?
Very touching. But look at this for touching. Look at all these patchy kisses. We are so lucky that we can do this and share it.
That's the nice bit is sharing it.
It is.
Not everyone can get to meet them. We'll get to see. Oh, you're very licky today, Floki boy. And that is, I think, us out of time for today and completely unpouched for another
unpouched.
fortnight. So we will plan and we will do another one because we're really enjoying doing these, and I think people are enjoying watching them. So we will say bye for now, folks.
And bye from Floki. Bye.